Hephaestus. Without him, Zeus wouldn't wield his powerful thunderbolts, Hermes wouldn't fly with his winged sandals, and Helios wouldn't be able to pull the sun across the sky. It was the genius and craftsmanship of Hephaestus that allowed the gods to maintain their power and execute their will. Yet despite his critical role, Hephaestus often stands in the shadow of his divine counterparts. This video aims to shine a light on the god who forged the tools of gods and heroes alike, despite what they did to him as a child. Welcome to the mysteries of mythology. Hephaestus. Olympus, usually a place of boisterous celebrations for newborn gods, was silent at Hephaestus's arrival. There were two tellings of his birth, both as distressing as one another. In the first, Hera, envious that Zeus had given birth to Athena without her, decided to have a child herself. This wasn't a joyous birth, but a moment of stunned horror. Unlike his flawless siblings, Hephaestus emerged physically impaired. His legs were weak and deformed. Hera couldn't stomach the sight of her imperfect child. In a moment of horrifying cruelty, she cast him from the celestial heights of Olympus, a fall that promised only oblivion. It is said that he fell for an entire day before crashing into the sea. In the other version, Hephaestus was the son of both Zeus and Hera. In a moment of rage, Zeus threw Hephaestus from Olympus for interrupting his argument with Hera. His body, once destined for Olympian grandeur, was shattered. The brutal force of the fall left him crippled, his legs forever twisted. As Hephaestus plummeted, a different kind of pain ripped through him, far worse than the physical agony of the fall. It was the searing ache of rejection, the knowledge that his own mother couldn't accept him. Day bled into an endless night, the world a terrifying blur rushing up to meet him. Finally, with a bone-jarring impact, he slammed into the unforgiving sea below. But Hephaestus, though broken and cast out, was still a god. His divine essence, unlike his fragile body, remained strong. The pain of the fall was immense, but it was merely the spark that ignited a burning desire within him. It wasn't just about survival. It was about proving his worth, his talent, in the face of his mother's rejection. This was the imperfect beginning of Hephaestus, a god destined to rise from the depths of despair and create wonders that would force even the Olympians to acknowledge him. His journey had just begun, fueled by the flames of determination and a burning need to forge his own destiny. Beneath the waves, the currents tossed Hephaestus's broken form against jagged rocks. But here, Hephaestus was to find his first act of kindness. Thetis, the Nereid with a heart as vast and deep as the sea itself, discovered him. Unlike the Olympians, aloof and consumed by their own power struggles, Thetis saw not a fallen god, but a being in desperate need of care. Moved by compassion, she cradled Hephaestus in her arms, carrying him to her hidden sanctuary, a luminous cave nestled beneath the ocean's swirling currents. Here, embraced by the ocean's lullaby and the gentle care of Thetis and her fellow Oceanids, Hephaestus began to heal. The harsh edges of his trauma softened, replaced by a burgeoning sense of peace. Yet, beneath the surface, his inquisitive spirit flickered to life. The cavern walls became his canvas, the glistening shells and smooth stones his first tools. He crafted rudimentary objects, each early proof of his ingenuity. Recognizing the spark of a master within him, the Oceanids nurtured his talent. His use of stone soon turned to metal, a material that resonated with a deeper power within Hephaestus. With the help of his newfound family, they constructed a humble forge, its heart a flickering flame brought from the depths of the volcanic vents that snaked through the ocean floor. In the forge's fiery embrace, Hephaestus found not just warmth, but purpose. The rhythmic clang of his hammer against metal became a symphony, each strike a testament to his growing skill. He crafted tools for the Oceanids, weapons imbued with an ethereal beauty, and intricate trinkets that shimmered like captured moonlight. Every creation surpassed the last, like the boundless potential that bloomed within him. The forge became his refuge, a place to channel the turmoil of his past into something beautiful and enduring. With each blow of the hammer, he honed not just the metal, but his own resolve. The memory of Hera's rejection, a burning ember within his chest, fueled his ambition. He would not be a cast-off, a forgotten relic. Here, in the depths of the ocean, nurtured by the boundless love and unwavering support of Thetis, Hephaestus began to forge his own destiny. The seeds of his extraordinary talent were sown, and the world above, oblivious to the brilliance brewing beneath the waves, would soon witness the emergence of a master craftsman, shaped by fire, metal, and an unyielding spirit. Decades passed within the cool embrace of the ocean, transforming Hephaestus from a fragile cast-off child into a blacksmith of unparalleled skill. The memory of Hera's callous rejection and the searing pain of his fall from Olympus remained vivid, a constant ember fanned by the rhythmic whoosh of the bellows. Hephaestus couldn't erase the sting of his mother's scorn. As his skills in metalworking flourished, so did his craving for revenge. His keen, inventive mind, honed by years spent with the rhythmic clang of hammer on anvil, conjured a trap that pierced the core of his pain. Hera herself. He wouldn't settle for a mere display of defiance. He'd craft a weapon of exquisite cruelty, a gilded cage that would simultaneously showcase his brilliance and imprison Hera. Every ounce of skill and bitterness he possessed flowed into its creation. It was a marvel, forged from the purest celestial gold, adorned with intricate scenes depicting the lives and loves of the Olympians. Golden vines twined around the frame, reminiscent of the verdant underwater world that had become his sanctuary. The seat pulsed with an otherworldly glow that promised comfort. But beneath the beauty lurked a complex mechanism, a spiderweb of enchanted metal designed to bind its unsuspecting occupant. When the throne was complete, Hephaestus enacted his plan. Under the cloak of night, he delivered his creation to Olympus. He left clues that tricked Hera into believing it was a gift from Zeus, a token of affection for his often jealous wife. Unaware of the treachery hidden within its gleaming surface, the throne awaited its victim in Hera's opulent chamber. As dawn painted the Olympian sky with streaks of rose and gold, Hera entered to find the magnificent throne displayed prominently. Delighted by Zeus's supposed gesture, a rare flicker of warmth replacing her usual suspicion, she sat. The trap sprang. Golden vines, once symbols of Hephaestus's newfound home, erupted with a malevolent snap, coiling around her, binding her fast. Panic rippled through the halls of Olympus as the gods heard Hera's screams. They rushed to Hera's aid, but even their combined might couldn't break the throne's hold. Ares's warblade, a weapon that had cleaved through countless foes, clanged uselessly against the enchanted metal. Athena, the goddess of wisdom, scrutinized the mechanism with her piercing gaze, but its secrets remained locked away, proving Hephaestus's genius. At first, none of the gods knew who had delivered such a contraption or why Hera had been targeted. Finally, it was Dionysus who had said that whilst journeying on Earth, he had met some Nereids beneath the sea. While visiting their kingdom, he briefly saw a creature hammering in a forge. Dionysus inquired who the visitor was and was given the name Hephaestus. Dionysus revisited the Nereids to inquire if the visitor was the creator of the Golden Throne. It was Thetis that told Dionysus of how she had come to find Hephaestus. Making the connection, Dionysus returned to Olympus and offered to talk to Hephaestus to release Hera. The other gods felt that Dionysus did not have the strength to deal with such an aggressor. From the depths of the ocean, where the rhythmic beat of the waves echoed the thrumming of his forge, Hephaestus watched the struggle unfold. A storm of emotions churned within him, a mix of satisfaction at seeing his plan come to fruition and a gnawing sorrow at the lengths he had gone to exact his revenge. He had proven his worth not as a castaway, but as a master craftsman and a formidable force. The score had been settled, but the true test of his power, and perhaps even his forgiveness, was yet to come. Whilst working in his forge, Hephaestus's first visitor was Athena. She congratulated him on his well-executed revenge and admired his patience and strategic mind. She explained that none of the Olympians could figure out how to reverse his trap. She proposed that if he agreed to return to Olympus and free Hera, Zeus would reward him with new tools and a workshop more magnificent than any he could imagine. Hephaestus barely acknowledged her offer, grunting, "I have no mother," and continued hammering at his anvil. Next, Aphrodite appeared at his workshop entrance. She promised him a personal tour of Olympus and her bedchambers if he would help free Hera. The master craftsman fought every urge to show any emotion. He was deeply in love with Aphrodite, but with an unmoved tone he repeated, "I have no mother," and continued his work. When bribery and seduction failed, Ares attempted intimidation. Stroking his spear menacingly, he warned Hephaestus that they would eventually free Hera and suggested he comply before things got worse for him. Hephaestus didn't flinch, replying as he had to the others, "I have no mother," without missing a beat on the anvil. As the gods grew more desperate, they realized brute force and threats wouldn't work. It was then that Dionysus, the god of wine and revelry, stepped forward with a different approach. He knew that the way to Hephaestus's heart wasn't through coercion, but through understanding and camaraderie. Armed with a jug of his finest wine, Dionysus descended to the fiery forge. Hephaestus, immersed in his work, barely noticed Dionysus at first, but Dionysus, with his charming and disarming nature, began to speak of Hephaestus's brilliance, admiring the craftsmanship of the trap. He shared his own stories of prejudice and pain, finding common ground with Hephaestus's feelings of rejection and isolation. As the wine flowed and the conversation deepened, Hephaestus found himself lowering his guard. Dionysus spoke of the potential for reconciliation and the respect Hephaestus could command by freeing Hera. It wasn't about surrendering, but demonstrating a strength that went beyond mere vengeance. Moved by the unexpected companionship and the persuasive words of Dionysus, Hephaestus agreed to return to Olympus. Hephaestus would release Hera, not as an act of submission, but on his own terms, ready to negotiate his place among the gods. Apprehension and anticipation crackled in the air as Hephaestus, escorted by Dionysus with his ever-present smirk, approached the Olympian gates. A storm of emotions brewed within him: anger, a flicker of hope, and the thrilling prospect of belonging after years of isolation. Zeus himself, radiating warmth that contrasted sharply with the chill of Hephaestus's exile, awaited them. With a firm clasp and a brotherly arm around Hephaestus' shoulder, Dionysus ushered him through the gleaming halls. The grandeur of Olympus, a stark contrast to Hephaestus's simple, smoke-stained cave, left him speechless. Golden light streamed through intricately carved windows, illuminating polished marble floors and towering statues of Olympian gods. Hephaestus couldn't help but compare it to the flickering firelight and rough-hewn walls of his own domain. Zeus, the master politician with an eye for detail, showered him with praise for his craftsmanship and resilience, subtly validating Hephaestus' decision to return and his worth as a god. The tour of the Olympian forges was a spectacle that ignited awe in Hephaestus' eyes. The vast array of tools surpassed anything he had ever seen. Gleaming ingots of celestial bronze, enchanted anvils that hummed with latent power, and exotic materials shimmering with otherworldly hues. The scale of the workshops overwhelmed him. Cyclopes, colossal and powerful, with muscles rippling beneath their leathery skin, pounded away at their stations, their hammers a rhythmic symphony of creation that echoed through the vast chamber. Zeus declared all this, every resource, every tool, every marvel of Olympian craftsmanship, at Hephaestus' disposal. The possibilities were limitless, and for a blissful moment, Hephaestus indulged in visions of the wondrous automatons, intricate weapons, and breathtaking sculptures he could create with such a bounty at his fingertips. But the heart of his return, the elephant in the grand Olympian hall, lay in the inevitable confrontation with Hera. Zeus led him to the throne room, where she awaited, still bound by the ingenious trap that had caused chaos across Olympus. The room fell silent, a weight settling on all present as the reunited family stood face to face. Hera, once a picture of regality, now appeared vulnerable. Her eyes filled with a remorse that seemed genuine. Hephaestus approached slowly, the rhythmic tap of his cane a counterpoint to the pounding of his own heart. Their eyes met, a silent exchange of a lifetime of hurt, anger, and a flicker of something akin to understanding. Finally, Hera's voice cracked as she apologized. Her words, heavy with regret, acknowledged her past wrongs and the pain she had inflicted on her son. She spoke of her fear and insecurity, confessing how they had blinded her to her son's love and her own duty as a mother. Hephaestus listened, his face an impassive mask, years of resentment hardening his features. The wait for this apology had been long, and letting go of bitterness was a struggle. Yet, a flicker of sincerity in Hera's eyes mirrored his own pain, a vulnerability that resonated deep within him. When she finished, Hephaestus took a deep breath and laid down his condition. Her release in exchange for a marriage to Aphrodite, the embodiment of love and beauty. A collective gasp filled the room as Hera considered this unexpected demand. Hephaestus, ever the strategist like Dionysus who had helped him return, knew this wasn't just about revenge. It was about securing his place on Olympus, not just as a powerful craftsman, but as a respected member of the pantheon. Finally, with a nod of defeat, Hera agreed. She would ensure the marriage, not out of love for Hephaestus perhaps, but as a way to atone for her past actions and rebuild their fractured bond. With Zeus's confirming nod, Hephaestus deactivated the trap. The golden vines dissolved, and Hera was free. Tears streamed down her face as she enveloped Hephaestus in a hug. A simple yet profound gesture that marked the beginning of their reconciliation, a tentative bridge built over the chasm of past hurts. Zeus declared a grand feast to celebrate Hephaestus's return and his upcoming union with Aphrodite. The earlier tension dissipated as the gods reveled in the joyous occasion. Though guarded, a hesitant smile touched Hephaestus's lips as he felt a long-lost sense of belonging wash over him. He was no longer the ostracized god, but Hephaestus, the master craftsman, finally home on Olympus. The next day, the grand ceremony for Hephaestus and Aphrodite took place. Though not entirely thrilled with the arrangement, Aphrodite, ever the diplomat, accepted her fate with grace. The celebration was magnificent, a spectacle worthy of uniting two powerful deities. As they exchanged vows, a flicker of something more complex than duty flickered in Hephaestus's eyes. He had admired Aphrodite from afar for eons, her beauty a beacon in his otherwise soot-stained world. The days that followed were a whirlwind of activity. Hephaestus, with unbridled enthusiasm, dove headfirst into his work. The Olympian forges became his playground, the bounty of materials fueling his creativity. He crafted exquisite jewelry for the goddesses, each piece imbued with a hidden mechanism or a playful enchantment. For the warriors, he forged weapons that shimmered with celestial light, their edges impossibly sharp and their weight perfectly balanced. The rhythmic clang of his hammer became a familiar sound within the halls of Olympus, a melody of creation that mingled with the clinking of goblets during joyous feasts and the hushed whispers of intrigue. Yet despite the shared bedchamber, a deep gap remained between him and Aphrodite. She, accustomed to the adoration of gods and mortals alike, found Hephaestus's rough demeanor and calloused hands a stark contrast to the smooth-tongued suitors she usually entertained. Hephaestus, still harboring the wounds of his past, struggled to express the emotions that simmered beneath his calm exterior. Their conversations were awkward, filled with uncomfortable silences and remarks that were barely hidden insults. Aphrodite began having an affair with Ares, the god of war, which caused Hephaestus considerable distress. The couple, heedless of Hephaestus's feelings, continued their love affair. The god of the forge decided to confront this issue in his own ingenious way. He created a net made from bronze, so fine and strong it was invisible to the naked eye and impossible to break. One day, when Aphrodite and Ares were together, Hephaestus threw the net over the unsuspecting couple, trapping them in the act. He then dragged them into the throne room of Olympus and summoned all the gods to witness their disgrace. The spectacle served its purpose, to expose Aphrodite's infidelity and Ares's disrespect. Though this incident brought momentary satisfaction, it did little to heal Hephaestus's wounded heart. He found solace in his forge, using his personal turmoil as fuel for his creativity. He crafted with such fervor and passion that the fire in his workshop occasionally spilled onto the earth, leading to volcanic eruptions. Reclaiming his place on Olympus wasn't just about acceptance. It was a key that unlocked a treasure trove of creativity. Hephaestus descended into the Olympian forges, a vast contrast to the cramped confines of his cave. Here, celestial bronze shimmered in heaps, enchanted anvils pulsed with a faint inner light, and exotic materials gleamed with otherworldly hues. Surrounded by the mightiest cyclopes, their muscles rippling beneath their leathery skin, Hephaestus transformed this forge into a sanctuary of innovation. Day and night, the rhythmic clang of hammer on anvil echoed through Olympus, a symphony of creation that told a story in every resounding blow. From his fiery heart flowed wonders that would become legend. His creations were not mere tools of war. They were works of art, imbued with the power of the gods themselves. The armor of Achilles, forged in the crucible of the Trojan War, exemplified this perfectly. It possessed near-invincible strength, yet its beauty was as breathtaking as its functionality. The shield, in particular, was a masterpiece, a microcosm of the cosmos, depicting scenes of human life and the natural world. Each detail meticulously crafted to reflect the world's intricate tapestry. Another such marvel was Zeus's thunderbolts, the ultimate weapons of the king of the gods. These weren't simply bolts of lightning. They were conduits that channeled the raw power of the storm itself. In their creation, Hephaestus showcased his ability to not only forge exquisite objects, but also to harness the very forces of nature. Beyond weapons and armor, Hephaestus' ingenuity yielded a plethora of wondrous automata. These weren't just machines, they were lifelike creations of gold, capable of independent movement and action. They served the gods with tireless precision and an almost ethereal grace. Among these marvels was Talos, the giant bronze guardian of Crete, a testament to Hephaestus's ability to imbue metal with a semblance of life. Despite his flourishing professional life, Hephaestus's personal life remained a source of discord. His marriage to Aphrodite was a complex dance. Hephaestus also had brief affairs with several goddesses and mortals. One notable attempted affair was with Athena, the virgin goddess of wisdom. During a futile attempt to woo her, Hephaestus was unable to contain his passion, and his seed fell onto the earth, impregnating Gaia, the personification of the earth. This union produced a son named Erichthonius, who later became the legendary king of Athens and a great benefactor of its people. Hephaestus also had an affair with a sea nymph named Cabero, with whom he fathered two sons known as the Cabeiri. These demigods, living on the fertile island of Samothrace, were worshipped as part of a mystery cult that promised protection at sea and offered initiates a path to personal and spiritual enlightenment. Through his resilience and artistry, Hephaestus earned the respect and admiration of the other gods. Even those who had once mocked him now recognized his invaluable contributions to Olympus. He had not only proven his worth, but had become an essential part of the divine order. His forge became the source of countless wonders and innovations that shaped the Olympian landscape. Hephaestus's legacy extended far beyond the celestial realm. In the mortal world, he was worshipped by blacksmiths, artisans, and all those who toiled with fire and metal. Temples were built in his honor, and festivals celebrated his ingenuity and skill. His story of overcoming rejection and adversity inspired countless mortals to pursue their crafts with unwavering passion and dedication. Hephaestus's life demonstrated the power of perseverance and creativity. From the depths of rejection and pain, he rose to become the master of the forge. His creations left an indelible mark on both the divine and mortal realms. His journey was one of transformation, turning fire and metal into objects of beauty and power, and ultimately finding a place where he truly belonged. As he continued to work in his forge, crafting wonders that would stand the test of time, Hephaestus knew his legacy was secure. The god of fire and forge had not only reclaimed his place among the Olympians, but had also ensured his name would be forever etched in the annals of mythology as the unparalleled master craftsman of the gods.